Hey everybody, it's Captain Ricky. Today I'm working on a 2010 Ford Fusion SE 25.25 liter 4-cylinder automatic transmission. It's my daughter's car. Familiar with the engine and everything, and front driver CV axle need to be replaced along with the bushing up in the housing and the seal. And I've got all that out, just getting ready to put everything back in. Spoke to Ford, $1,000 to do this because you cannot get the bushing out of the housing. You need a specialized tool. I talked to my local transmission shop, and they told me it'd be $500 some, but they couldn't do it because they didn't have the tool either. And I looked online, and the tool is $300 some for the tool itself. So I'm trying to do this myself, try to figure out what can I make, how can I get this part out, this bushing. That's what I've come up with. All right, let me show you what I've got here so far. This is the old CV axle that goes up inside, and you can see a lot of scoring. You can feel it. It's a lot of scoring right there, and this is the new one. Really well machined. All right, this is the bushing I took out, and it's really scored really bad, and I've got a couple little notches there when I pulled it out, but it didn't hurt the housing inside of the transmission. You put this on here, that's a lot of play. I mean, a whole lot of play. That's ridiculous. It's that much play in it. Okay, and the trick is trying to get this out of the housing. All right, this is what I've come up with. This is the new one, actually. It's got a Teflon coating from Ford. The part number for this thing, if you want to order it, is a DV6Z7025C. Okay, it's like $7 from Ford, and that's the new one. I'll set this over here out the way. All right, what I've done is, let me turn the camera around so you can see what I'm doing here. I went and purchased a piece of all thread, 3/8 all thread, nothing special. And I cut this one about 6 inches. You can go a little bit longer. I probably should have went a little bit longer. Bought some of these washers, the Fastenal, the 9/16 washers, case hardened. Okay, this is the part number. You can get them from different stores. I couldn't find them at Home Depot or Lowe's. You might have to find somebody that's got automotive stuff, but I didn't need all these. But this was expensive because of so many in the damn pack. This washer, if you look at it and you hold it up against this bushing, I mean, it's almost the same diameter, just a little bit smaller, not much, just a scotch, and that's what you want. What I've come up with is I got a couple, these 3/8 by 16th nuts. I bought a pack of those, cinch two of them together, tighten them up. You take two of these washers, and what you do is you take and cut off the sides, a little bit off each side. All right, you grind them down to the smooth on the edges, so you don't need nothing catching the inside of that housing of that transmission and scoring it. All right, and also if you look, usually these washers have a sharper edge on one side, and that's the edge you want to actually be facing out to catch that bushing. All right, we're gonna put these, and I had to double them. What I did, I tried it on single first, and this is what came up, what happened. It actually bent it. So I had to double this. Also, you look, this nut almost pulls through these washers. So what I had to do is get another case hardened washer, smaller, so it wouldn't pull through. Slide that down on those. Slide these on here. Remember that sharper edge would be facing out. Put them together. This is what it did. Actually, I left the seal in the housing on the transmission when I pulled this out, because I've got a large socket here. It's actually inch and 7/8. I don't know if you have anything this big, but you got to have something big enough, at least, that this will pull up into. But this is perfect because this is almost exact diameter of that seal itself. Okay, and that way it's up against the housing of the seal versus pressing against or scoring that aluminum housing. So I left that in. All right. This is the idea. This is the principle of it. This is up inside. take these, and it's enough room in this center of these washers to turn them on their side and feed it through the center of that. And it's just enough room. There's a little gap in between here and that bearing inside, so it's just enough little gap to open them up like so. And you got to keep a little tension on it to keep them up against it. And not going to slide off to the side because you got the housing holding them in the middle. All right, it goes like that. Let's see if I can hold this together while I do this. I'll try to do it like this. And it goes like that. The big socket goes on, okay? Try to center that. And what you end up having to do is I had to step this down. There's another case hardened washer I just had. Put that on, okay? And a couple smaller ones. That's another hardened one. This is a smaller one. You run your nut down. You try to hold this in place. It's kind of, I can't really do it right here, but that's still in there. And you run this all the way down, right, till you get tight on the housing. All right, and this is the principle of it. You center this up and you get it tight, and you get this centered on the housing. Double nut the top of it so it doesn't turn on you. All right, and tighten these together to themselves. And you tighten these up so they don't turn. Put a wrench on this one, a wrench on this, and you start turning on this, but you need to make sure this is kind of centered. And you just keep cranking down on this lower one, and it'll pull. It pull that bushing right on out. Pulls it right on out. But of course, this is going to stay hooked to that. The trick is to find this washer here and slot the sides, and it'll fit up in there. Took me 2 tries, but it did work, and I did get it out with this. My little tool here, I got maybe 15 bucks invested in it. Now, the thing is, a trick is if you've got a washer, I mean, you've got a socket big enough to do it, maybe borrow one from a friend, maybe it's something this big. I think that's a 3/4 inch drive. But it saved me a lot of headache and not having to go to Ford. That's a big plus for me. $1,000 Ford, hell no. But that's what I came up with. My little tool. Like I said, 3/8 all thread, 9/16 case hardened, grade 8 washers, slot to them. If you can find these at a different thickness than this, that'd be great. But just make sure you check the diameter, make sure that you've got the new one and you set it up against it and make sure it's about the same size. And that's perfect. It's just a scotch smaller. But this is the ticket right here. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. Hope it saved you some money. Captain Ricky, later.